Welcome back. You made it through week 1, episode 1, and now here we are for Transdemic, episode 2. Thanks for coming back. It's been a wild week, and when I say that, I mean it's been a heavy week. And we'll get to the portion of Transdemic here that is the question and answers. We got a couple of amazing questions, and we have answers for you. And we have Bentley here, of course, and we'll get to that conversation in a minute. But when we recorded this, and I go on this rant you're about to hear in a minute, not the one I'm about to do, but the one after when I'm talking to Bentley about black trans people being murdered, I didn't have in front of me the names of all the black trans women that have been murdered, but officially, again, we just hit 6 black trans women dead in 7 days. And I just want to say the names real quick, the real fucking names, because the thing that mainstream media is also not reporting on is the misgendering and the dead naming going on. And all you people out there that are not aware of what those words are, look them up. And to people that do know what that is and think this is on some snowflake shit, just fuck off. So the names of these black trans women whose average life expectancy right now is 35 fucking years old. Basically, I am an elder at this point as a black and Mexican trans person, trans woman. So if I keep going in life, I would have outlived many other black trans women. I don't care what you think, what your beliefs are, all that rhetoric and bullshit is. People should not be murdered for being transgender, should not be murdered for being who they are. And you should respect them for who they are. The names of them are Bree Black, 27 years old. Shockey Peters, 32. Drea McCarty, Brayla Stone, 17 years old. Mercy Mack, 22, and Tatiana Hall. Found murdered within 7 days just last week from when you hear this podcast. I mean, I don't know. You're going to hear some more about this right here with Bentley. Thank you all for sending in questions. Thank you very much. Please keep sending them. We want questions that if you feel uncomfortable to ask, you can send them anonymously. Or, bring it. Ask us questions that you're afraid to ask. Right here on this podcast is the safe place to do so. We will answer them to the best of our ability. We want the tough questions so that maybe we can stop this shit from happening. Stop killing people. Stop killing trans women. And I'm speaking to the Mexican and black community specifically, being a black and Mexican human being. Get over your shit. Get over it. All right. Bentley's coming in now. Like I said, thank you guys. Let's get this podcast started. I don't know.
The last time we talked,
no.
Save a couple days. But I don't know about you, but I have this horrible habit of if I'm bored in the morning, or if I wake up early, or if I'm up in the middle of the night, I will Google. I Google transgender almost every day. Do you ever do that? Just Google transgender and then go to the news tab and see what's going on?
Really? You just the word transgender?
Just the word transgender, and then I hit the news tab, and then go to the most recent results.
Oh my gosh, no, I don't think I've ever done that. Not like that specific word.
Yeah, it's terrifying most of the time. It's probably not a good practice, but I like to do it to keep up with what's going on, and not that it's a major surprise, but most of the time when you do that, you come across, all the trans murders that are going on. So you'll find like almost every day or it's like pretty much every other day or every couple of days, there's like just news articles about, what trans person got killed. Are you up to date with like how many trans people have been killed this year so far? Just in the country, that is.
Oh my gosh, it's disgusting. I don't know an exact number. I know it's way too fucking many.
It's far too many. I think what they have documented, which I'm pretty, and we have to realize that they're not counting everybody, right? Like these are only people that we know of that are transgender, but you don't know exactly. So yeah, I think the count right now, it doesn't seem like, you're going to get the naysayers. Oh, it's not a lot. It's at 21 is the official count. 21 transgender non-binary people killed in the U.S. in 2020 so far.
Oh, that's disgusting. And and like you're saying, that's not like, how many do we know of that weren't out, or they were out to certain people, and that's still why they got killed. And there's so many different factors that it could be more. Yeah,
and ones that are dead named, maybe in media, so you don't necessarily know.
Yeah.
So there's that too, and of course, keeping with the trend, the majority of them are black trans women specifically.
Yes.
Which is again why I look it up, right? Like it's just something I have to be mindful of, I guess, and because there's a lot of people that are like, oh, it's a small number in the overall scheme of things. It's like the coronavirus thing, like, oh, it's such a small number of people die. Yeah, but it's like that's like irrelevant, right?
It is. It doesn't matter. Those people have families or loved ones, and they had their own life and passion and like their contribution to the world and like their loves. And it doesn't matter if the number was one death this year. It's one too many.
One too many. And most of these ones, especially most of the black trans women deaths, are extremely violent. And they're usually, predicated. Like this case particularly, there's somebody by the name of Bree Black, 27 years old, and was slain, as they say, which is just brutal. Shot to death the night of July 3rd, Pompano Beach, Florida, according to the sheriff. Gunned down in the street. Like most of the trans women murders that are happening, especially in the black community, they're always so fucking brutal. They're late at night, and then you never hear anything about them like after that. It's like it's just here today and gone tomorrow, which is just terrifying.
Yeah, it really is. Even I shared a bunch of stuff in June about there was 6 black trans women in June. I mean, maybe more, but I saw the 6, and there was like a little picture that someone created that had all 6 of their faces on it, and I was sharing that around, and like, yeah, that got like no attention at all. Mm-hmm. It makes me sick.
And I just don't know how to, other than what we can do, which is if I can find, or if I find the source, I mean, I share it, but like, we had this conversation earlier, and we'll get into this in a minute, when I had posted the podcast originally. Like people don't see shit that a lot of people are posting anymore. Like we're seeing like the very small well. So like it's hard, even with the podcast and having this conversation, it's so hard to like get eyes and ears on what's going on. But even if we do, then we have to deal with the situation of, the systemic problem of just in the black community specifically. And I speak from a black community member. Like we have to somehow figure out a way to tackle this immediately, at least to a point where we can stop getting people to be violent, at least to a point where we could like stop getting people to kill people. Like it sounds ridiculous, but like we need more representation and visibility still. And people complain that we have too much and that we're indoctrinating people and their kids. Like get the fuck out of here with that. Like I just don't know how else to like raise our voices any more than we already have.
Seriously, and like in the media or like famous trans people and stuff, there's really not even that many. And I think people just see one and feel like it's an attack on their whole family.
Yeah.
And they're not realizing that in history, straight couples have raised all of the queer and trans people so far. So I don't understand where their logic behind that being pushed down someone's throat is going to make them like gay or trans all of a sudden, when they literally have been trying not to do that for years through abuse and conversion camps and everything, and they failed at everything. So why did they think it would be so easy for a kid to like turn out that way if that wasn't naturally how they were born?
Yeah. Like that doesn't happen, right?
Yeah, it doesn't happen. Like, it's not, nobody, like, especially nobody would choose to have this much discrimination
No.
and to spend this much money. Like, if you're transitioning, like with the name change and everything, even if you don't medically transition, but you still want to legally change your name, at least in Arizona, to get everything, including your passport, it's like about $1,000. Like,
wild.
why would someone pay that to then also get
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a ton of money here.
That's a lot there. I mean, I just wanted to, before, because I do want to, I don't want to move on. I want to keep, everybody keep that in mind that's listening. Like, go look it up for yourselves too. I've thought about, it's going to be a lot of work, and I've been trying to work out, like, I want to make sure we cover some episodes more in depth of some of these particular murders. I want to get to, I just want to get to the bottom of some of this, and maybe even talk to like the fucking investigators and the police and the families involved. You know what I mean?
I would be so down to do that. I think a big problem too with what's happening is I think there's still 38 states. Correct me if I'm wrong, if it's 38 or 28 states that still have the panic law where they can get out of the murder because they panicked or felt like they were in danger because of the trans person. I don't know exactly how many states.
I mean, I don't know the number, but there's a lot.
There's too many, and that needs to end. That needs to end, like, whenever that law started. It should have ended that same day. That's ridiculous. That's an okay pass that you freak out about someone that's like gay or trans and you're able to kill them.
Mm-hmm. And it's worked. Like, that has had, people have definitely gotten out of or get lesser sentencing because of that reason exactly. Specifically.
Oh my God, so many times. And then you see the other side of the backfire where, let's say, a cis woman is about to get raped by a cis man and she kills him. Mm-hmm. Then people are going to attack her and be like, well, what was she wearing? Like, did she deserve that? Like, whatever. It's going to be a question of what she did wrong. And that's another thing that needs to be stopped. But that all stems from the same problem, that laws like that shouldn't exist.
Yeah, totally. And then that's, you're seeing that now. I mean, to this day, you're seeing like those cases, and even in the public, like in public court, like the court of public opinion. I mean, you see that narrative all the time of victim blaming and wanting to allude to not believing necessarily the victims of violence, especially gender-based or sexuality-based violence. That's a common thread, and it's and it's got to stop. Like, there's an awareness now that I think is good, and you can see in some of the articles that you're reading where these trans women have been murdered, where people are like calling out the police and the sheriffs and stuff like that for the misgendering and all that. So you're seeing an awareness.
Yeah.
We're still at that very early point where, okay, there's an awareness by some people, some of the media, and a lot of that is probably just to look good. I mean, I just to like fit that PC mode and make sure you get your viewers, like,
yes,
because the reality of it is, like, with the cops and the courts and everything, it's the same shit that we're dealing with. Like, you don't see that sort of progression as often as you see it in media or online.
Yeah, not at all.
So I just wanted to bring that to light first, and kind of make some space for that, and highlight, that is still going on, and it's got to stop, and we have to figure out a better way to. I get so stuck. Like, this is why we're having this podcast, and hopefully we have people on that could help us come up with better ways to, like, fucking figure out how to normalize our lives instead of making it this weird fucking thing. Like, I don't know how to change that.
Yeah, I think it really doesn't help that the internet is so vast, and the fact that like anybody can post things online, and then let's say somebody that identifies as like a zebra or like a lizard or a cat or something like that, they get all this press, and then that's what the majority see instead of like an actual transgender person. They see someone that's like identifying as like an animal, and then we're all made fun of as a giant group.
Yeah.
When that's like a completely different thing.
Did you see the you shared with me? I think I saw it the same time that you shared it. The Disclosure, is that what it's called? The documentary.
Yeah.
So you have all that, which is crazy, all the stuff, and that stuff still goes on. Like, it's so weird. I can barely, and people think that it's oversensitive and just it's jokes. I can barely watch. Like, I know that if I'm going to watch a stand-up comedy special, there's going to be something about trans people in it, almost like 90% of the time.
Oh my God, I know. Yeah, it's hard.
It's why?
I don't know.
It's so weird.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what everyone's weird. Like, it's almost like a secret fetish or something. I feel like some people it's this weird taboo that people feel like they need to talk about in like a fetishized way instead of realizing that it's just a group of people that just want to be like normal people.
Yeah. Do you notice how often it is? Does it come up? Do you notice in like your daily life, like people talking about it a lot? Like maybe not directly to you, or like, does it come up a lot in your life?
Oh yeah. Weird. Even before I was out, just like at the bar, just weird little jokes. Like, cause I work at a blues club. So it's like an older demographic. Like some guy would joke about like how some girl looks like a dude, or like, oh, that girl used to be a dude maybe. And like just weird.
So weird.
Comments, not even like whole conversations, but like especially I feel like straight white cis men like have a weird thing where they always have to mention that, and it's like really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, it's so weird. It's so and so you have all of this shit going on, and we're trying to kind of navigate that, being normal, quote unquote, just living our lives most of the time, and we have to deal with like a lot of that static. What we were talking about earlier with the internet and people not seeing what we're posting, it was funny because I posted this podcast, and I wanted to know why there wasn't initially there became to be a lot more questions and engagement. Initially, a lot of engagement, and the main answer was that people didn't see it.
Yeah,
which is odd. And then the weirder answer, some of the weirder stuff was like, somebody seemed to be upset that it was at the title of the episode.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Being clickbaity, and I was like, "What? Come on!"
Wait, because it's named Transdemic, or
because the name of the episode was like, "Are masks transphobic?" which is like, it's a total joke.
Oh yeah, it was a joke. Yeah, that was a joke.
Yeah, and the person was like, "Oh, I didn't want to click your clickbaity title," and I heard somebody. I had a friend of mine that was already talking about how masks like misgender them, so I felt like this wasn't going to be the resource. It was an odd response.
Oh, that is that. Oh, wow.
It's right there. It's right there in that group.
I'm just for the fight for equality and like equal rights for everybody and safety. I didn't think that was clickbaity. I thought it was kind of cute.
So did I, and that's why I intended it to be. I thought it was just like absurd. So I was like, and clickbait by being absurd, yeah, probably. You want to have a title that seems ridiculous, but and that's why I was like, hey, you should have listened to the podcast. They're like, oh, I have trans people I respect. Well, I guess it was just weird. It was a bizarre conversation. So hopefully that person is listening now and just like, hey, we didn't mean anything by it, but which is good though too, because like people got to realize if they don't know anything about about me and the stuff that I do, I'm all about. I don't give a damn if you're mad at me about something I say, like the last person.
Yeah, I know I have good intentions, and like I don't have like a weird secret agenda. I'm just very straightforward about my feelings, and I just want everybody to be equal. That's like my fight. Like that's all I want to do is make everybody like happy and equal, and like that might be a crazy thing to want, but like for my birthday, like all I want is like world peace.
Is that coming up?
On Wednesday.
Oh shit, we're gonna have world peace on Wednesday. That's awesome.
Yeah, won't that be sweet? I know everyone's like, "What do you want?" And I was like, "There's not anything that I want is not attainable right now." So
Yeah.
I don't want objects. That's why I do so many like giveaways, or like I'm giving away masks, and on my Instagram I just gave away a binder, and then one of my other friends had another binder to donate. So we did a drawing of like random people on the internet. So 2 people that didn't own a binder got a binder this week, and it's like all just because I want to help people.
That's amazing. Explain to people that wouldn't know like why that's important for somebody to receive something like that.
Well, from my experience, the first time I put on a binder, I like bawled my eyes out. But also, I'm not the like I'm just a baby about everything. I cried yesterday because I don't have enough hair to donate to like bald people. So I literally did. I text Kaylin. I was like, I'm crying right now because I don't have my hair doesn't grow fast enough to donate it. It's messed up.
I love that.
It's so messed up. I've been growing my hair forever. It's just like I'll never be able to donate my hair. But yeah, no, a binder is really important because it helps treat dysphoria so incredibly. I can't even explain. Like I feel so complete when I have my binder on and a shirt on.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a great, easy. It's only like a $40 way to like treat a huge chunk of dysphoria. Yeah. And a ton of people can't afford them, or they're not out where they live. So the fact that I can mail them, I actually am mailing 2 out to 2 people that aren't out to their family. So I'm wrapping them in Snailmate t-shirts, so it looks like
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm sending them a bunch of Snailmate merch, and then I'm just putting the binder in there, so it looks like they got merch. But it's just a cheap way to aid so much negative mental health into a positive thing. I'll never forget my ex-girlfriend bought me my first binder. And I was on tour in Seattle, and she brought it to me when she visited, and I like put it on in the hotel and just like cried for like an hour probably because I had never seen myself the way I knew I was supposed to look until that moment, and it was just beautiful.
It's so important. It's so important to have resources like that, and you also gave a good glimpse of like how fucked up things are, like the fact that you have to smuggle this shit. Like it's drugs.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I'm totally okay with doing giveaways online, because if some of these people even had the money to buy a binder, they wouldn't have the ability to get it because it's going to be in a package by itself.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be labeled. So
that reminded me of so many years, so many years of having to hide things. When you bring up like the binder, like a kid that's not able to tell. And like we find all these ways to like hide shit. I don't know if you did when you were growing up, but like I definitely found ways to hide things and like be able to wear things or to be complete in a way where nobody else would have to know. And it was like the most liberating thing when, you know, you could do that in private and be able to have that feeling, but also the most terrifying that you could be found out or caught with that kind of shit.
Yeah, I've honestly blocked out so much of my childhood. I can't answer that.
Yeah.
If I hid things, I just know, I remember I saw this girl at school and she was a lesbian and she was out at like 4th grade, which I thought that was just incredible that you could like know who you are and be out. But she dressed all like in boy clothes and stuff, and I was instantly attracted to that style and stuff. So I started wearing like cargo pants and stuff like that. And then I remember once my mom was like, people are going to think you're a lesbian. And I like, I've never connected with the word lesbian because I've never felt like a woman.
Yeah.
Even before I like knew any of that. Like I didn't know I was like trans at that time, but I knew I didn't connect with the term lesbian. But I was like, I don't care. I like how I look in these like Dickie shorts and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know if I did much hiding. I think I just came off more as like a tomboy because I like skateboarded and stuff.
How much of that was like informed by, cause like it's weird because, you know, we always, for people again, cause I'm trying to make sure that there are people that maybe don't know a lot about trans experience. There is that difference between being trans and then who you're attracted to. Cause you'd mentioned, you know, cause mom brings in the lesbian thing.
Right,
so
yeah.
it made me think of like when you're attracted to like different things, like a lot of people are, but we force ourselves into these boxes. But when you're growing up and you're a kid and you find yourself attracted to whoever it is, being trans, did you ever get those feelings like I did where you're like attracted to somebody and then you like want to be that person at the same time?
Oh yeah, that's a whole mood.
Yeah.
That's a whole mood, especially because I'm pansexual or bisexual or whatever. I don't really know. I don't know.
Me neither.
I like everybody. I know some people get offended by pansexual, but I'm definitely not trying to offend anybody.
Okay.
But yeah, I like anybody. But yeah, I always had a hard time because in general, I'm not attracted to the same men that I want to look like.
Mm-hmm.
So then I would see one man and be like, I don't want to sleep with them or like even kiss them or anything, but like I just like how they look. And then one day it clicked that I was like, oh, that's kind of what I want to look like. And then there's the side of the men I'm actually attracted to, but they're never the same. So it's like just a confusing. I feel like being like bisexual, that's a whole nother thing because that's even more confusing on top of all of that.
I feel like that was like a real big source of confusion for me growing up, because people tell you, like when we were younger, we didn't have all these resources. We didn't have any of this language or information. The internet was really new.
Yeah.
So like what I knew of when I'd watch TV was like, oh, trans people are like trans and like they are like into like, you know, they make the full transition and they get with like guys and all this stuff, whatever it was, whatever bullshit narrative there was. And so I was always at odds with that because I was like, I didn't always act or talk like this flamboyant gay person that, you know, we were fed to think gay people were, or gay dudes especially were.
Yeah, right.
And like, you know, but like I had those feels of like, you know, wanting to be a girl, and it didn't make sense. And then when you get older and you're like, then I was like attracted to girls, and I was like, how the hell? It was so fucking confusing. Like, it was like probably the main source of confusion to be like, I'm not trans. I can't be. Like, I'm attracted to girls. Like, because you don't know then.
Yeah, and you don't realize that they aren't the same. Like your gender identity and your sexuality are completely different things, and they really have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, but you're taught like that they were the same. Like even back then, especially. So like you conflate the two, and that becomes a source of confusion.
Yes.
That sucked. That was so weird. And I'm dealing with a lot of that now, like to today.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you think it goes away, like once you come out and you make the transitions, whatever way that is for you in your life, and you live your quote unquote, people say truth. And then I was like, oh, that shit will go away. It never goes away. Like I'm still like, oh yeah, like fucking I want to look like that girl. Then it's so funny because I have that thought immediately, like, oh my God, you're so fucking trans afterwards. Just make fun of
Oh, that's cute.
So weird.
Well, it's an ongoing thing for sure, though. But yeah, even on TV or whatever, it's always a struggle to know what's going on. Like I know I'm not confused. I know I'm trans and I know I'm bisexual. But yeah, it's like picking apart. Like, do I want to look like them? Do I want to sleep with them? Like, what's this feeling? And
that's trans exclusive, really. I mean, I'm sure there's other people that experience that, but that's like, it seems like some trans problems.
It really does. Yeah, I mean, I could see how a cis person could feel that way about like their same gender, but I feel like it would be a lot less confusing.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Like a lot less confusing.
That's funny because now we can. It doesn't lead to, but this is one of the questions. Did you get any questions on your end?
No, I didn't. I think I need to share my info a little more.
Cool. Well, it's all good. We have plenty. And I'll get to them now at this point in the podcast. Just a couple of the questions that people, and this one's a little more lighthearted, so I want to start with this. Yeah. And it kind of leads. It's very vaguely kind of sort of bridges from what we were talking about. But somebody just wanted to know, since we've both been out and kind of doing our thing, that what we've discovered about our personal styles since we become more open about our identities. So if you want to just start that off.
You want me to start off? Okay.
Yeah, you do it.
Well, awesome. Since I started testosterone, especially, I mean, I was out before that, but specifically since I started testosterone, I feel like I have a lot easier time being femme and flamboyant because I've always felt kind of like a gay dude, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like I like everybody, but like I've always been attracted to like gay men and that style of like femme, like drag queen, that kind of stuff. So I've really actually for the first time, I've started like experimenting with makeup and everything, because now I'm like, well, it's drag and it doesn't give me dysphoria unless I put on lipstick, so I don't put on lipstick.
That's the funniest part to me.
Yeah, no, it's weird. I can do the whole face, but the lipstick, it's just nope, got to do a gloss. But yeah, I've gotten really into like the art of. I see it as a canvas, and it's not like I'm getting ready to be cute, and I'm not doing it in public. I probably do it at shows eventually when we're allowed to do shows, but like. Yeah. I love the art of like painting whatever you want on your face, and I see it more as like an art form than a girl getting ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, I've just been a lot more comfortable with my flamboyant hand usage and different things that I used to try and suppress because I was like, oh, I'm not going to pass as a man if I do this, even though that's like internalized transphobia because it doesn't matter. But yeah, for me, I've just been so much more comfortable. I've like bejeweled some of my shoes and stuff like that. So, that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, they're flip-flops that say fuck off, and I put jewels on the fuck off part, so it's like bougie. But yeah, I've just been so much more comfortable in every way.
God, that's so wild. Because that's something I don't even think because we've known each other a while. I don't think I've ever known of you to have an interest in that. So it's like, it's just interesting, like, what coming into yourself can do. Like that's fucking, I think it's really amazing too. And it also speaks a lot to like, again, trans experience and like how rich and like how legitimate this well of like whatever we are as trans people is, and how it's not like black and white at all.
Yeah, not at all. Some trans dudes transition and they're at the gym getting ripped and being like manly men. They're stealth. You would like never know that they're even trans, which is like just as acceptable as what I'm doing. Like there's a huge, it's just like cis people, it's the same thing. Like they do tons of different things and have tons of different styles. So it's so hard for me to see how the majority of the population sees trans people as black or white, because we're all just, that's one tiny thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think being visible like you are and like I am, like, I guess overall that'll help. It'll help people kind of get an idea that like that, we're not like that, like that people are varied.
Yeah. So that's one thing I'm bummed about touring right now, just to like spread the love like that. And I like made a bunch of pronoun buttons, and then I have like a trans person Pete here stickers that I'm putting in the bathrooms all over the country, and I like cannot wait to put those in like every bathroom, even though they get ripped down. But
that's okay. That's good.
It's worth it.
It's yeah, we can't really spread that message, I guess not by touring anymore, but I think it's interesting because for me it's still, there's a lot. It's just like, it's being comfortable with yourself is one thing, and then discovering your style through the identity. It's weird because it's like I have a variation of stuff too. It's like if I want to, we play shows or we're doing anything that's with MB, there's a certain look or aesthetic that I enjoy for that. Sure, yeah. But like my day-to-day life is like total soccer mom. It's totally different.
It's so cute.
Oh, it's so ridiculous. But I'm still learning how to be comfortable with that. It's you mentioned internalized trans misogyny. Gosh, I have so much of that to like paddle through and still deal with, where I still get weird, feelings of like, oh, like this is too much, or this is too femme and all that. And that's all I want to be, like it's, yeah. You still get those voices in your head that are like, like you're doing something wrong. And it's like, what the fuck? Like I've been living, full time for a long time now, and to still have those feelings just shows how indoctrinated we've all been.
Yeah, it's wild. And it's hard to like see that we as trans people deal with that. So I can't even imagine cis people, how they're wrapping their mind around this and how they're trying to understand, even if they're on our side. I just can't even imagine what feelings they have when they don't even understand dysphoria at the rate like a trans person does, and they are still willing to learn. I think that's such a beautiful thing, but I totally understand when people need a minute to get it.
Yeah, a minute is all I'll give them. Like it's
yeah, a minute. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like you probably experienced too. Like it goes on to be, there's a certain point, and you haven't, I guess, totally complete. Your timeline's a little odd because for some people you've been out much longer, and then for other people you've been out for a much shorter time.
Yeah, some people have been out for years. Some people it's been like 8 months now,
which is wild, and that's where I start to have like less and less patience. Like even for people, and it actually ends up sometimes being people that are closest to you. Like even like my parents, it's like at this point, it's been 3-4 years since it's been like just full on. And it's like the whole like we need time thing starts to be like this. You don't need time. This shit's just not going to happen. And because like you're just being assholes at this point.
Yeah, after years, it doesn't make any sense. But you're so right about the people being closer thing. I feel like the people that they're not all now, but the people that were closest to me are the ones that aren't getting it the most. Not even just family, like certain friends that are closer to me. Like I have one friend that used to always call me like sis, or like sister or whatever. And now like 8 months ago, I was like, hey, can you start calling me bro? And like still to this day, now he just doesn't say bro or anything. It's just like, hey.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Yeah. And it's like
almost worse.
Well, dude, you called me sis for 10 years. So I now that I'm thinking about that, I have a few friends that used to call me sister that now don't do anything, which that's so it's such an easy swap, especially if you've known someone for like 10 years. Like,
yeah, well, that's interesting, right? Like it's good and bad. I think it's good initially, right? Like it's like but if you are, because for some people it's awesome because maybe they're non-binary or they don't think about that often. And I'd rather, for people that don't know me, I'd rather you say nothing than to misgender. But like
totally.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But I get the fact that, especially if you request or you could say this, I get that they should interact with you in that way. I'd never say bro or sis anyway. I can't relate to that anyway. I just never use those terms.
It's weird. I've just had so many dudes because like we never like had anything besides like a platonic relationship. So it was always like, oh, this is my sister or whatever. So yeah, I'm like, hey, can you just use brother now? And then it's like nothing, which is fine because they're still like, I'm hoping they all change my name in their phones and stuff like that. I'm not gonna go ask, but in theory, it's fine.
That you're going through people's phones,
like right? Be like, hey, what does that say? Yeah. But yeah, so I guess it's just little subtle changes where it's like you can tell that there's something that they're just not comfortable with yet, and it's like, why does that happen with the people that were closest to you?
Yeah, it is. It's people that were closest to, for sure. And I don't know. I just, again, I don't have a lot of time or room to. Some days are really bad where you really like ruminate on that kind of stuff, and most days I don't. I try not to think about it because it's just it's too much. But I will say for me, it's been better overall. But even in public, it's been better too. So I find that interesting. Like I'll go on rolls of like many weeks of things being okay, and then there'll be like a disastrous week where there's just like a ton of misgendering and shit. It's really odd. It's
weird. That same happens to me, or I'll go weeks with everybody using like the right, like my new legal name, and then I'll have a week where all of a sudden like 3 people text me, or like the other day I posted something on Instagram and someone, I guess they didn't know, but they used my dead name, and it's just like like how after weeks of being like, yeah, like finally people are getting it and like respecting it, and then all of a sudden just downhill.
Yeah. It always feels like it happens with more like, it's like when it rains, it pours type shit, where it's like if one thing happens and then like a couple of other things happens. It always happens in like groups to me.
Yeah, same here.
That's weird.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that about?
It's some pendulum shit or something.
That's really fucking odd. That brings me to my next. It isn't the exact question, but one of the questions that was brought up was, it was centered around trans healthcare, or how the pandemic has affected transition services, quote unquote, or healthcare services for trans people. And you're a great person to ask about that and talk to about that. And from my experience, it's been kind of hit and miss. It's like some people have been able to like still get the treatment and things that they need. Others haven't been able to. I know that trying to get my name change done just got delayed a bit, which I'm going to be doing soon. But like, so there are some things that just kind of got delayed, but I guess neither, like what's going on. Cause we know that I know that you're getting some stuff going with transition. So how has the pandemic affected that? Cause you were on hormones and getting on all that kind of around the same time all this was going on, a little bit before, but also dealing with it when it happened.
Yeah, I started hormones. I don't even know. Most people are like, they know their hormone date, like by heart. I don't know. Like, that kind of stuff's never mattered to me. Like the date, I'm like, well, now I'm doing it. So I don't even know what my like T birthday is. I'd have to like look on my Instagram. Yeah. But I think it was December 3rd. I think.
Sounds about right. Somewhere around there.
Yeah, it was either end of November or beginning of December, but I think I saw a post that was the 3rd. But so the only hard thing now is the clinic where I have to get my blood checked every 3 months for. Yep. They check like everything. The first year, every 3 months, they check every single thing you could think about, like red blood cells, cholesterol, everything, not just hormone levels. Mm-hmm. So the clinic I'm at now, the appointments are a lot more scarce because the waiting room, they can't have the waiting room full anymore. So it's pretty much just longer waiting times and stuff like that. And then I was trying to schedule a top surgery for earlier in theory, or at least my consultation earlier, but then they had to hold off on even doing surgeries for a couple months because there was no beds for when you're healing up. But now they started doing surgeries again, but now I'm confused because now they're saying the ICU beds are full. And on Thursday, the scheduler for my top surgery, they get back in town. So I was going to talk to them about scheduling surgery, but then I need to have a whole conversation about, is that even going to happen, or is it going to get moved again because it's getting worse here? Yeah. But then I got a random email from AARP, which I don't know why I'm a member of AARP because I'm 26, but they were saying things to not hold off on are one of the, like, number 6 was do not hold off on a surgery that would make your quality of life improved, because they're saying it's like safe and everything because you're in a room, everyone's wearing a ton of protection and stuff like that. But yeah, it hasn't affected much. I think the main thing that's affected is I haven't updated my passport yet, and I'm not going to because there's no point in spending all that money when a passport has an expiration date. So if I get it now and we can't travel for 2 years, like, why would I have paid that, you know? But it hasn't been as bad as I thought it would be, but also I'm very fortunate that I live in a big town, so there's tons of options and resources here.
Yeah, I was going to say it seems this seems to be normal. I've looked into it with a couple people online, and things are just delayed, which are not good. You know, for people that are listening that don't know, sometimes these surgeries are super imperative and life-saving to some people. You know, whether you understand it or not, like, it's for some people it's dire to get these surgeries. That's why it's important. You know, like, it's some people, I can tell, even probably people listening, it's not that big of a deal, but for some people it is. So I just want to make sure that we emphasize that, you know.
If you could, I would like to explain, like, to cis people, like, the idea of being able to take a shower in a bright room and be able to, like, look down and wash my body without wanting to vomit. Mm-hmm. Is worth every penny to me to have surgery. Like, the fact that I have to wash my body and see parts that do not connect with me in any way, and they're not my body parts. Mm-hmm. Like, have that go away and be able to, like, I can only imagine what it's going to be like to have a shower with, like, a flat chest. Like, I've, like, got teary-eyed about thinking about how amazing that's going to be.
There you go, crying again.
Yeah, I know. Like, on TV, I can't, like, cry. It's like a couple tears, like the well build up, and then, like, a couple tears. But
that's so funny. That's also a funny little wrinkle in your hormone usage. You can't produce tears.
Yeah, since I started, I haven't been able to have a real cry. I get, like, 2 or 3 tears. That's it. There's no, like, no real sob fest or anything.
That's good enough. You're every, like, machismo dad's dream.
Right.
That's fucking ridiculous. So that's interesting. That's been the case. So it's funny because I found a resource that I just signed up to, and I'm going to find out more about this on Monday because I'm waiting for some questions. Have you heard of this app called Spruce?
I feel like I've heard of it, but I don't know much.
Spruce, I think it's new. It's totally online, and they offer hormones and trans healthcare via an app on your phone.
Oh my God.
And basically you sign up. I signed up. I did everything. But basically you sign up and it's like $99 a month, but they also have a payment. Like if you can't afford it, there's payment plans and things like that. And basically you just do a consult with them and then you do your lab somewhere at off-site. Then they get the labs, they read everything, and then they prescribe you everything.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Isn't that like fucking such relief for people to not have to go to like the actual doctor with all the dysphoria, all that crazy shit and dead naming and all that stuff that happens?
Yeah, that's amazing because a lot of towns, like I'm very fortunate. I am very aware that I am like privileged and fortunate as shit to have a doctor in town that like treats trans people, and I can go in and know I'm not going to be judged because that's what they do.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't have that, and they have to trust that they're going to go to their normal doctor with like a letter from their therapist, and they have to trust that their doctor is going to let them take hormones.
Wild.
So like
so wild.
That is really cool. And like even I have to go. Sometimes it's weird. Sometimes they do my blood work at the doctor's office, and sometimes I have to go to a third party to get my blood work done. It depends on how they're staffed and everything. So like in July I have to, or it's July now. At the end of the month I have to go get my blood work at an off-source place, and then a week later I have my appointment and stuff. So like it's really not even a hassle to have to go get your blood work, and then everything else is on an app. That is amazing.
Yeah, that's wild. I have no idea how it works, so I'll let people know as we move on. But the other thing that they say they do here is that they also can give you documents and stuff to get, name changes if your state requires that. Probably a passport for the national, because passport, they need those doctor's notes and bullshit. So they can also do all that too, which I'm assuming they'd be able to do even pre-hormone treatment.
Wow. And is that all with the flat fee?
That I don't know yet. I'm going to find out. So like they have your consult fee is $25, and then every month after that, if you decide to go with it, is $99 a month. So I'm assuming, you'd probably have to pay like a month or two if you just wanted to get consultation and paperwork.
Wow.
But that's wild. I'll let you know how it goes. But
yeah, please do. That's really cool.
Yeah, it seems like a crazy. I mean, that's something that I've thought about wanting for a long time. Like something like you don't have to fucking, it's because it's such a bitch, like to do all of that.
In dealing with like the dead naming at the doctor's office, my name is legally changed. But I since we talked last time, I told you I've ordered a new insurance card like 5 or 6 times. I just called again on Friday, and like they keep saying they're going to send me a new insurance card, and they haven't. So even at the doctor. Luckily, when I go to like the one that treats me for hormones, they have like a preferred name or whatever, and so they call me Bentley.
Yeah.
But legally, my name is still in there as my dead name because of my insurance card, even though my name is legally changed.
And you can't change the insurance card?
Yeah, because they haven't sent me a new one, and they said until even online it's updated. Like when I log into my insurance online, it's updated with Bentley, but because the insurance card doesn't say that, they said they can't change it because then there's a risk that I won't be covered, and then I end up getting billed and stuff like that. So it's just like this whole thing. And then it was the opposite when I went to the gynecologist. So I'm all about trans dudes.
Yeah.
You have your vagina, please get that checked out.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need cancer going on. It sucks, but like you only need a pap smear once every 3 years now. So like to me, that is so worth it to know I'm safe down there. But there it was opposite. They were like, okay, your insurance card says your dead name, but your driver's license says Bentley, so we're going to go by Bentley here. And it's like, what? Like none of this makes any sense. Like, and all I need is the card. They just got to print out a new card and send it to me. It's not like I reapply. I still have the insurance. So it's just like, that's
just, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So that's awesome. Well, there you go. So we talk a little bit about, some of the healthcare stuff going on, which is, we're on the same page with that. And then I just want to offer, look up Spruce, everybody that wants to maybe try to find a different way. And this is new and it's operating right now. So I don't know. There must be a way to get these hormones via the pharmacy and all that stuff right now. So cool. So all that's it can be worked around, I believe, if you're in a place. But one of the other questions that came through was concern for what if you live in a place in rural areas. And that's like, I had a really good question from a pretty good friend of ours that works, I don't know exactly what he does, but he works with at risk, I believe, youth, maybe like some drug rehab programs, stuff like that. And he's had clients in the past or even in the present that are identified as trans and has had to deal with these kids' families and parents and is trying, I think, what it seems like at times to advocate for the kid. And he ends up, he feels, making it worse with the families. And he is like, well, how can I be an ally and be better for these kids and families without making them angry? And I was thinking about how fucking hard that question is to answer.
Yeah, I don't even know, because the more I feel like when someone's ignorant, the more you try and teach them, the angrier they get.
Yeah.
Even if you're going at it as like a, hey, let's just both be adults. Can I just share with you the info and the facts that I have? And will you just listen and like process it on your own? If they're ignorant, they take that as an attack. Yeah.
Well, and the way it was framed was, the way he asked the question was like, how to be an ally and not cause more damage? Well, I don't think if you're being an ally and you're advocating on behalf of someone that's trans, maybe to a family, which is a very difficult position to be in the first place. Yeah. If the family reacts reactionary, like just fucking explosively, which, hey, my family, they didn't react like angry, but you're gonna get a lot of heat most of the time from family, and it's never like this. It is in some cases, because I've heard of amazing family reactions, but in a lot of cases it's not. So I don't think you're doing more damage by advocating. I think you're actually, it doesn't seem like it, but you're doing good work. And it sucks that like maybe I would be really careful. You have to know the family. There's a lot of things that the staff would have to know that we can't answer that here. But like families are going to react most of the time with the real knee-jerk reaction, and we can't always go off that, because a lot of times families do end up coming around in some shape or form,
Yeah, they do. I feel like, I think the best advice would be to, when they're blowing up and everything, I wouldn't cut them off. I would just let them blow their steam if you're there with them, obviously, and try and educate. Like, the only thing you can do is stay calm and provide facts.
That's it.
That's like the best advice, is to stay calm and provide facts. And they're going to be mad, and they'll probably be mad because you're staying calm, because everybody wants to get like this weird reaction out of you. It's just
and even if you're stating facts, go ahead.
Oh, no, go on. Nothing. I was just saying how terrible this world is.
Yeah, no, it is. But even in those instances, and I know from experiences, like, just say what you have to say, whatever it is. Say whatever you're saying, and say, that whatever it is, who knows what these situations are. But even when you're stating facts and everything, to people that aren't aware or that aren't ready to listen, they're not gonna give a fuck. And so you have to understand that, like, you can say your piece, and then you have to let it go and let the individuals that you just dealt with deal with it, and don't fall into the traps of like engaging in argument when it comes to this, because it really doesn't do very much good,
It doesn't. Just state your facts, and that's all you can do. But I would also say, like, follow your gut. If you think the kid is in actual danger, like, don't ignore your gut feeling on that.
Yeah,
because that can go bad. Like, parents can be evil sometimes when they don't understand, or they're from some rural, small, homophobic, transphobic, racist town. But I guess just, stay calm and state the facts.
Yeah, it's tough,
Yeah, it really is tough.
I still find that to be like a very, and then how to get resources to a rural community it's again, it's up to, like, there's going to be people in every place usually where there's going to be some outliers that are trans or gay. Hopefully, I mean, in most cases everywhere, but I think the only way to get more resources out there is what we did was cool when we could tour. I mean, that's a way to get resources out there. I would love to go places like where this person works and be able to engage with people and help out. But until then, I mean, for now, we can't even do anything like that.
Yeah, I know, and it's so great being like face to face because people get so mean on Facebook and stuff right away about nothing. But face to face, I feel like there's so many more opportunities to have like a healthy conversation, at least from my experience, especially when I was in Europe and we were touring and I was like out to the band and stuff we were touring with, and they had a trans girl in their band too. So there was two of us like clearly out and like queer, and a lot of people in Europe don't get it, but they all ask questions and then there's like this beautiful conversation and then like everybody respects each other.
Oh yeah.
From my experience, I don't know about you. I know you said kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same. They're a little more blunt. But yeah, it's the same.
Very blunt. One person at our show, we had already played, and she was just staring at me, and then she came up and said something in German, and I was like, I'm sorry, I don't speak German. And she was like, do you have a penis?
Yes, I've gotten that question so many fucking times. It's all overseas.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know. And then she was like, I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight unless I know. And I was just like, don't ask this question anymore. But no, I don't. Like, please don't ever ask anybody that again.
Yeah, that's the worst. I consider it a win if somebody asks me that. I'm like, hell, it's fuck yeah.
Right?
I'll take a question. If you're questioning it, damn, that's awesome. I'll take it. I'm not going to answer that question. I don't answer a lot of questions anymore that I thought I would. But like, there's just no reason to answer for my, whatever. I'm just like, it's odd. It's awkward. That's a very awkward interaction to have.
It really is. And I feel like I'm almost like, maybe now because I've been in my house so long from quarantine, but like at one point I was pretty desensitized from that because that's been happening for like years and years, even before I was like out to anybody. People have always asked me weird shit like that. So yeah, I'm like almost desensitized to it. I'm like, oh, here we go.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, I guess for the sake, this is a good long episode. I try to keep them a little shorter, but I think trying to like cement, the Transdemic stuff, this would be good. This is good. I think we had a cool talk, and hopefully everybody out there get something out of this week. It's just been weird coming to the realization that, I don't know, just trying to figure out the touring, the touring stuff is whatever at this point, because I have no idea how it's going to work again.
Yeah. I would like to plug, please find me on Instagram at the Bendy Boo, because I am screen printing t-shirts next week that say fuck racist, and 100% of the profits are going to the Marsha P. Johnson Institute. So I would like to spread the word on that.
Awesome. Marsha P. Johnson. I talked about Marsha a couple weeks ago on the podcast, but I think that's awesome. So everybody should go there and follow, get on the YouTube. I know how fucking hard, but also awesome it is to start building a YouTube following. That's a good time.
Yeah, it's fun. And I'm just doing giveaways and trying to make people happy and not being too serious. Like I stand for what I stand for, but it's not like a serious channel. I also like to have fun, but also educate people. But yeah, I was trying to think for weeks, like, what can I do? Because I'm broke as fuck. I was like, what can I do to raise money for more stuff in like the Black Lives Matter community, and especially Black trans women? Mm-hmm. So I ordered a screen. It's coming in the mail, and I can print in my garage, and that doesn't cost me anything because I already have all the supplies. So then I can sell shirts and just donate all the money.
That's amazing. That is fucking awesome.
On the shirt too, it's my cat puking, and it says "fuck racist" in the puke. So, like, why would you not want to do that for charity?
That is amazing. That's even better. That's even better with the cat. Your cat is a badass looking cat.
Oh, she's so perfect.
So I was gonna cut right. I'm gonna cut it right where you say she's so perfect. But so I think, I don't know if we should do like another maybe week or two, and then or not, maybe with starting with the next week bringing somebody else on.
Yeah.
And then just kind of going from there and seeing how that goes.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And then I did, depending on who we can find, I know I have a couple people interested just if anybody has ideas for shows or anything, I would love to be able to turn it over some weeks, and we'll have an introduction, have our talks, and then have them run the fucking show. And I just wanted to be a place where multiple trans voices can be heard, like through this platform, but have their own episodes within it.
No, that'd be super cool. And I know a bunch of people that would probably be interested in that. And I will ask on my Instagram about getting some more questions and stuff too.
Cool.
That kind of first started my YouTube channel. I asked on Instagram and Facebook, ask me anything, whatever. And everybody was really nervous to say anything. So I actually texted a bunch of my close friends and was like, hey, can you put a question on there just so other people will ask me real questions? So that worked. I feel like people are so scared of offending us. And I think that stems to the people that identify as a cat also, because they're the ones that attack people more. And I don't even have disrespect for those people. I want anybody to do literally whatever they want.
Yeah.
But when people get attacky, that's when things get toxic.
I agree. And I want some of those questions actually. And that's weird because I'm trying to encourage that a bit. Because I kind of want to be able to address uncomfortable questions and situations.
Same here. I don't give a shit. I would love. Yeah.
I don't give a shit here. Anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. If it's here, my plan when we tour again, if people ask me trans related questions, I'm going to hand them a business card that has my YouTube channel and be like, if you really want to know, it's all here. So
that's the way to go. So, I mean, we'll see how this week goes, and then we can get more engagement.
Oh, thanks again for listening. Send in your questions, as I've mentioned many a time over the last hour. And please stay with us here on Transdemic. Subscribe. iTunes, you can subscribe to Mood House and you'll get this podcast every week as well. You'll be seeing different people come through, different guests, different ideas, different topics we want to explore. We want to be a resource. If there's anything you have a problem with, anything you want us to do better, let us know. Shoot us an email, moodyblack@gmail.com, Moodhouse, it's all over the place. Or the most famous noise rap act of all time that is simultaneously becoming the most popular podcast of all time with Transdemic. Hey, heads up too. Stop killing motherfuckers. Jeez! See you next week. Transdemic. Mood House Mondays. Transdemic Wednesdays.